Cage, time to get on with baseball. Not too far away, mate. November the 17th, the bite will be in Sydney.
Round the corner.
Absolute shellacking.
I used to go as a young man to Norwood Oval, and I used to love the baseball out there.
Well, they've moved, mate. They've upgraded now. Fast Shores, magnificent setup.
I love it.
There,
round the corner from home.
Just around the corner. The coach, Chris Adamson's been good enough to come in. Chris, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Mate, first year in the coach's seat. How are you finding it?
I'm loving it so far. It's to the point now that I can't wait for it to actually get going.
Wait, you lose a couple of games.
Yeah. That's right. That's probably why I'm loving it right now.
Mate, so you've sat in the assistant coach's role, even playing assistant coaching probably the last 3 years, so you're familiar with the group, so there's an advantage in that. Have you changed much pre-season?
Not too much. We're probably ramped up in terms of baseball-specific activities a little bit earlier than previous. So there used to be a bit more of a conditioning component as a group. We've probably ramped up, as I said, the more game speed type stuff a little bit earlier in the hope that we do go in a little bit more ready to game one. So we'll see how it goes.
Now, Chris, the pressure's on because we've been thereabout, but we just can't nail it, can we?
No, absolutely. So we've learned a lot from those previous years, and hopefully we can put it into practice
One step further.
Mate, when you say you've learned a lot, what do you think some of those things are that you've learned that you've needed to improve on for the upcoming season?
I think some of them are fairly intangible, to be honest, and just what it takes to actually win. So there's obviously the physical components that go into it, but almost just that mindset that you need to take into a game when you really need to take it by the scruff of the neck and seize your opportunities, which I think in the past we maybe haven't done as good as we potentially could have. So I think it's not so much how to throw it and hit it and those types of things, but more so just to seize the moment, so to speak, when it actually is presented.
New players, import-wise?
Yeah, so we'll have 8 imports that we're allowed to have on any given roster, and we'll have a good mix. So we'll have about half of those being position players and half of them being pitchers. So it should be a pretty good mix to complement the Aussies.
Who picks your imports?
It's a bit of a two-way street.
What sort of say do you have on that?
A decent amount of say. Over the years, we've been able to build some relationships, particularly with the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros. So we can approach them with what we need a little bit more, whereas previously we kind of got what we got, whereas now we can actually say we need X, Y and Z, and then they can kind of come to the party with who's available.
Mate, it has been at Norwood Oval. Last year it shifted. West Beach, good setup. Nice to have your own base. Yeah,
absolutely. It's good to just see the fruits of your labour 12 months of the year. Norwood,
it's a beautiful spot.
Yeah, Norwood was amazing, but obviously then it's back to a footy stadium pretty soon after, so it's good to be able to rock up in the middle of winter and there's still a fully functioning facility there, which is helping with the juniors and the women's programs as well.
Mate, there's been a big change in footy, basketball, whatever sport in that get the balls out earlier, get the ball, the bat out earlier. Have you been of that mindset? There is the physical stuff we need to get through, but we can do that at the same time as we can get into the skill set as well. So has that been your attitude? Yeah.
So my whole goal was just to go into game one as ready as possible. Like, I know that seems fairly self-explanatory, but just to make sure that the guys that we have here, because we've got guys right now that are based in Asia and Europe and America, in addition to just being here working and things. So for those guys to be ready, there was a bit of a mixed approach with how we went about it early. So, I mean, we'll see if it comes to fruition in a few weeks' time, but I think we'll be ready.
Imports will arrive how long before the first game?
Probably about 2 weeks, ideally.
Is that ideal, or would you like them here earlier?
Ideally, a little bit longer, I guess. But I mean, that's probably from a selfish perspective.
Well, you've got to be selfish, Chris. You're a coach.
That's right. But I mean, they're coming off the backs of a 6, 7, 8 month long season. So I can empathise with them, given that they want to spend some time at home with family and stuff.
True.
So hopefully we just get the best of them for the time we have them.
And I'm listening. It sounds like you're juggling a lot of balls in the air at the moment. Guys in Asia, guys in America, the local guys here, trying to get them all together in 2 weeks. Some guys are coming. You've got to almost manage some of them quite differently to the way you're managing the others. Is that final 2 weeks when you get them together, even that period, sounds like it's got to be pretty managed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the big things that I'm trying to instill in the guys is just to have a really good base in terms of culture. So then when guys come from various parts of the world, they're coming into something that's already pre-existing, as opposed to having a good chunk of your team rock up late and feel as though we need to mould around them. I want those guys to come into an already pretty good environment. So that's been the main focus, and one of the other reasons that I wanted to get the guys a little bit earlier in terms of preparation this year.
Chris, as a sport, what about the numbers at junior level and so forth? Is it still healthy?
Yeah, it's actually going really well.
Is it?
Yeah, we've been going really well on a junior level. So we've had some success in terms of winning national championships at lower levels.
Yep.
Some of our younger charter programs, so the Little League and Junior League programs, we actually won the national tournament with that and got to go over to the States, which was unreal. So that's only continuing to build. And then the Women's League is another thing that's more than doubled. It's gone from
Women's League in all sports is going...
6 teams to 14 teams this year.
You're kidding me? 6 to 14?
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
Kind of speaks for itself.
Doesn't it?
That's incredible.
Hey, Chris, I'm interested, because you've been involved the last 3 years, not only do you have intimate insight into our team, you have some intimate insight into the other teams. Who looks like being the teams we've got to get?
Well, I mean, Brisbane's won the last 2, so they're going for a 3-peat, and that's kind of their whole thing this year, so they've got a pretty big target on them. Victoria or Melbourne, they're always really, really strong.
Sydney, our first game?
Yeah, Sydney's strong. And Perth kind of rattled off the entire league. But that's the thing with this league, it is so even, and there's such a big base of Americans that come out, and a lot of them are really, really good players that we do have to... There's no easy games, and we play them 4 days in a row, so you've got to be switched on for 4 straight
And the Yanks
games.
would love to come to Australia to play baseball, wouldn't they? They'd love to come here and have a crack.
Yeah.
Biggest change you've seen in the last couple of years? I mean, you probably touched on it there because of the quality of the imports, the standard's gone up. It's certainly gained more publicity, so more fans coming to the game, and they've engaged with some of the game pre-stuff that they're doing. What do you reckon tactically has changed in the last couple of years?
I think it's all in line with the standard. So you have to be so much more sound in terms of your just fundamentals, because there's so many talented players on other teams that if you do give them just a little bit of a sniff, you could lose the game in the drop of a hat. So that's been something that's huge, and the quality of the league as a whole is just unbelievable right now. We've got so many guys that have made it to the major leagues and are actually really excelling at the major league level right now, that these guys are just, you know, they're taking any chance and they're playing like they're on fire. So.
I love the argy-bargy in baseball. There's something, you can have argy-bargy in footy and soccer.
You loved it because you used to argy-bargy, mate. So.
There's something special about a bit of argy-bargy in baseball. The exchange of words and so forth is very colourful. I love it. I love it.
Some of it's a little bit more subtle than others, but it is definitely.
I love it.
There's a lot of
Who has
passion.
the biggest advantage? Who has the biggest advantage in argy-bargy? Is there a position where you go, I mean, obviously the catcher's in a position where he gets a fair chance to have a crack at everyone.
Yeah.
Who's the biggest trash talker? What position normally dishes
You got
out?
a decent crack when you're a catcher, because you've got all the protective equipment, so if someone wants to clock you, you're wearing a mask, so that's handy. And plus you're right there, so you've got a mask on, and there's a lot that can be said without being seen. So that's probably the biggest advantage.
Ian Chappell was a great catcher, and he used to love the argy-bargy.
There was a fair bit going on last year in the final series in the United States in the baseball.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name, so I apologise for that, Chris, but one of them was about the pitcher that had hit quite a few players over the course of the season, and he was up against one of the better batters, and he said, the guy interviewing said, you know, how do you feel about Ken, you know, he's going to throw the ball and it's going to hit you. He said, well, that's fine, he's got a ball and I've got a bat. His choice. That's a pretty good answer. Mate, we see from time to time, though, and not that you want to see it in sport, but often you see the dugouts empty and there's an all-in.
I love it.
It shows the great camaraderie of the group, because realistically there's a guy out there on his own, and then all of a sudden something can ignite it and the whole team gets in. I think, I'm not encouraging the all-in, but I guess I'd like people to understand that how close and united the group is, because it would be so easy to sit there and go, you got hit with the ball, mate, bad luck. But there just doesn't seem to be that.
No, there's a massive amount of unity for sure with it, and it's kind of a one-in, all-in type deal, which, as you said, it's not ideal, but it's refreshing to see that everyone is on the same page.
And baseball's different too. It's something special about argy-bargy in baseball.
No, mate, I'm talking about the unity of the group. Not argy-bargy all the time, mate.
I used to go to Nord and see these blokes out there run from one base to the other.
Chris, we have to wind up, but before we go, mate, is there any chance we could see some good baseball as opposed to just argy-bargy? Or could you get the players mic'd up so we could hear everything? One or the other.
Yeah, we'll try and get some baseball done, but we'll try and strap on that.
So first game's in Sydney.
Yes. And
Good luck,
the
Chris.
week after we're here.
Beautiful.
All right, week after we're here. 24th is when you need to be down at West Beach. Get ready for the Adelaide Bite. They are in for a boomer of a season. Stay with us. A bit more to come.